Today's video is gonna be really simple, and it's about being your unique self and not being afraid of how you are being perceived by the outside world. And it sounds really simple, but it came extra clear to me this week that this was part of the message that I needed to receive this week. I had a dream last night, and the dream was about traveling, being really in my element, and also recognizing the mastery of my air element. I have a lot of air in my chart. I have like 80% of the planets in the air element. And I'm not an expert in astrology and so on, but I'm really an airy person. For me, it's easy to tap into visions, to tap into energy, and to kind of sometimes have a premonition. So I'm able to see things that are have yet to be. How do you say? They have yet to be. They're like in the future, and I can see them now. And sometimes it comes in energy, sometimes it just comes with an inner knowing. So I always had this I would say spiritual muscle that I already had when I was younger. But there was a time in my life where I really didn't want to know anything about it. Like, I felt so sensitive that I really didn't want to feel anymore. I felt so much pain, and I would always mirror certain things in my environment. But now, now that I'm 30, this is becoming one of my most beautiful gifts in life. Like, it is not a burden. It is something that makes me unique and that I can honor of myself. And it comes with certain lessons, that's for sure. I noticed that I'm easy to see people's blind spots. It's easy for me to see where people are, still playing small or in certain behaviors, and they are avoiding to look at it. And I start to realize that it's not always my space and time to interfere with the process. But it also means that at certain points in my life, sometimes the path feels a bit lonely, in a good sense, because this part that I have within me, like this feeling or sense of loneliness, also helped me to create my own relationship with God and be really comfortable with saying the word God. Because that also has been a process, because I was not brought up in a Christian family or household. I didn't know anything of religion. Like, when I was younger, the children at my school, they were basically saying to me that I would go to hell because I was not baptized. Well, that was my first experience and traumatized experience with God. But from that particular point in time onwards, I started to develop my own relationship with God. And it was not even my intention to talk about God on this, in this video, but it is something that I really cherish, because it doesn't come so much from out of a book. It's from my own book of life, and it's about the things that I want to dive into with myself. So I found out that I had certain blocks around the word God, and I was sitting with myself feeling like something was missing. Like, I can easily write the universe or whatever. Universe, sounds more like, doesn't have any, I don't know, just more natural and neutral, right? But I started to journal with that, and I found out that I was just angry with God. Like, I felt like God would be some kind of father figure that would punish me. But it's just not true. Like I went straight into that, and I could see that I was just not jiving with the institutions. I was not jiving with, you know, the indoctrination, the you cannot think for yourself anymore. I think freedom of thinking is so important in this day and age, like because there's already so much programming out there, and we need to get rid of all the programming, right? So for me, it was really important to sit with myself and sit with the word God. Like, what does that mean for me? It's not like I can just put it all in words, but what was that negative vibe around the word God? Why was I not comfortable with saying that word? And then, yeah, of course, there are certain, you know, experience that I had. Like, I once had a near-death experience where I felt like this is just straight up God, angels, whatever, because if God was not there, or something was not there to orchestrate the whole, you know, thing, motorbike accident, I was not there. I could literally feel how I flew off the motorbike, and there was this, you know, the ground, it almost felt like there was this net in the ground, and I was like jumping in the net and jumping out of it, like it was like time bending or something. But anyway, when that, you know, experience happened, that just blew my mind away, because I could not deny that that happened. I felt like if that happened, something out there is really taking care of me, is really, really protecting me. So when you have these experiences, it doesn't have to be a near-death experience, you know, but when you have the experience of really truly listening and hearing the voice of God or your intuition, and you have this more and more, there is no denying that this force inside of you exists. And I feel that the more that you experience that, and the more that you trust that, the more that you're able to feel that you belong here. And there has been a reason why you have felt like you didn't truly fit it in, you know, and there may have been times where you felt like you didn't fit it in or you didn't belong here, but the core of it all is that we belong here. Otherwise, you and I would not be sitting here, you know, and I wouldn't be talking to you right now. So there is a reason and a purpose why you are here. And it's so important to connect with that part inside of you every single day, because it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day lives and the responsibilities and the really human stuff. It's so important to really nourish this spiritual side of you. So if I come back, the reason why I talk about it, because in certain points of my life, I have been repressing this part of myself. But this part of myself is not here to be repressed. Your stories, your voice, and everything that you meant to share is not here to be repressed. Like, that has been time that has been happening at a time where you couldn't speak your truth, and you and I were probably burned at the stake for, just playing around with herbs. So right now is actually a really important and amazing time to start developing this spiritual side and to ask yourself the questions. I think it all starts with asking yourself the questions. And I'm gonna check if I even press record, because I am gonna not have it when I didn't press record. So I'm gonna check it out. Oh yeah, cool, I did. Oh my God. Funny, eh? Yeah, so let's see. The journey with God. I didn't know that I would talk about God, but I love God, and I feel like God has always been part of my life. I am the only child, so when I was younger, I would really, sit by myself and ask myself questions about death. I remember having this whole awakening about death because I was so terrified. I was like, what happens when we die? Like, what happens? Do we go to heaven, or like, are we able to smell? Are we able to eat? So asking questions, like, it's just opens the door for curiosity. And also, when you ask something, ask yourself more and more. I feel we're so easy nowadays to go to Google. For practical things, Google is amazing. But for like following your soul and just following the calling, it's not so easy to just go to Google and just find the answer there, So it's really about asking yourself and be curious and see how things are kind of giving you feedback in your reality. So this week, there has been a big sign for me. Big signs, I would say. I've been praying a lot yesterday to just release the things that are not for me, because I feel like I've been just chasing the wrong things that are just not for me. And I really fall in the same trap over and over again. But, I gotta learn. So I had to pray, and I had to like give it to God, like pray for everything that is just not mine to be released, so that I can have clarity on who it is, who I am, who I want to have in my inner circle, who I share certain information with, and all of these things, like getting clear of who I am and getting to know my core values, but also, most importantly, act upon them. Because if you don't act upon them, for me, it's basically self-betrayal. So, I've been getting clear with that. And this, last night, I had a dream, and it was just what I said before. It was about the traveling. It was about my air element, being able to navigate life with flow and ease, and just being totally in my, I would say my mastered self. That was what I could see in my dream. So today I'm just waking up with just really honoring this part of myself, and not so much, seeing it as a burden, because I did. And I had to be honest with that. Like, I did, because I felt something was wrong with me. Literally, sometimes I'm like, I walk to the city, I just do the human stuff life, and I think like, but my path is so different. But that's up to me to figure out, and that's for me to walk on. And that's the whole thing. Like, I don't need to fit in. You don't need to fit in, because we belong here, and we are meant to do things our way, and, the way our soul is designed to navigate this life. So the overall story about, because I feel like I've been everywhere with this story, but there must be some kind of red line into this, that be your unique self. And it sounds so cliche, I know, but the more that you and I are empowered, the less urgency there is to put on a mask, like a fake identity that is not ours to hold on to. So this is actually a beautiful time. We are living in a time of awakening, as a lot of us know. Probably you know it too. Otherwise, I don't think we would not even like be here. So it is very normal to go through these stages of awakening, and we go deeper and deeper. And it takes a lot of bravery to look at yourself in all honesty, because a lot of people, like majority of the people, are not willing to look at themselves. They're still living in like a state where they put their head in the sand. But it can be painful to become aware of things that you're meant to hold on to, or the programs that you're meant to release. But there's also really a beautiful part of the rebirth and the crumbling, because you really get to experience how it feels like to be totally you and not be scared of who you are, not be scared of your own power. Yeah, and surrender to that journey. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful journey, and I'm learning more every time. And I think we never stop learning, and we shouldn't stop learning, because life is always meant to expand. Yeah, so my video really for today is about embracing your uniqueness and not being afraid of who you truly are and how that sounds like for the outer world, because you may be a way shower, but the more you stand in your own truth and your own, beingness, the more that people gonna see it, and you're gonna inspire a lot more people than you actually realize. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and see you next video.